Hello everybody and welcome to Greg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm working to restore history one piece at a time. So we've been working on the late 1940s SpeedQueen wringer washing machine, and we're continuing on with that tonight. We're going to be doing part 6. So what we're going to be doing is I still have to make gaskets for this because nothing's available for me to buy as far as for the tub and the drain, etc. I'm also going to have to design and build some sort of a mechanism, mechanical mechanism, that will disengage the motor to be able to shut the wringer and the agitator off, because there's no electronics on this thing. It's just a corded motor that plugs in, and that's the way it was designed at the time. But there was a knob for mechanical disengagement, and I'm assuming that it was for disengaging the motor from the belt. I have no idea what that was because it wasn't on it and I couldn't find anything online, so I'm creating my own. So that's mainly what we're going to do. We're going to create that. I've painted the parts, and I'm going to be hopefully reassembling this thing, and at the end of this we should have a reassembled late 1940s SpeedQueen washer. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, I gotta see if I can somehow get this thing dropped down inside there in the right orientation from the top versus trying to come in from the bottom. And it's got to go twisted like this and not be in you guys' way, and hope I can get this sucker in here. If it'll fit. I hope it will fit this way. I think it will, but I'm not positive it will. Yes, it will. It will, except it needs to be supported on this motor end, on this bracket, because that has to come up from the bottom, or I have to get one over here and that, which is probably the better route to go. But I need a piece of hardware here that's long enough to go all the way through that, which I believe is this one right here. And I need to get this shifted so it goes over there. Not quite where it needs to be. I say, if I can get that through that or not. I did. I just need to get a nut on it. I'm going to have to resituate and jockey all this stuff, but I just need something to hold it together right at the moment. I'm not even putting my washers on. So, alright. That has that. Alright, let me move the camera angle for you guys so we can see what's going on. Alright, so we need to get these two here lined up better, and that one's coming up, that one is not, so I'm thinking that the rubber has slid one way or the other. Yeah, rubber has slid quite a ways actually, because it seems a long ways off. I don't even see the stud. There we go, maybe. Yep, there we go, okay. Now, get a nut on one of these, and I can get the washer. Should have had the washers over here, but I didn't. Get one on here. Hold everything in place. There we go, okay. Alright. Get a washer here on that one. Get ready ready to push that up when I have a nut ready for it. We've got enough room for a nut and a lock washer. Hand just does not have the strength I need for it. I think I got enough thread on that to hold it, but I have a wrencher in my pocket too, so I'll give it a couple turns. Like that, that'll hold that. Probably gonna have to get a star washer for that one, because it doesn't have as much stud on it. Put a washer under here. For now, I'm just going to get this stuff sitting in here without lock washers until I get everything the way I want it. Got some weight on with that motor. Alright. So we'll put this washer under here. Well, there we go. Go. Alright, so now I need to get this washer here. Alrighty, so I'll get those tightened up, and then I'll bring you back and we can start taking a look at however this cable has to go to get over to here, which now that I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like it's going to be that easy to do. I'll bring you back. Alright guys, it's in, and I didn't have any injuries. Got all new hardware in it. The existing big washers are all everywhere. I think they were originally. I got new nuts and washers. I got new bolts on all this, and everything's tightened down. So now is when I got to try and figure out how to get this tensioner to work. And zoom you down a little bit so we can try and figure this out. Alright. So basically, this is the knob right here. Alright, so you can see how we're pulling. We're pulling from there to there. My cable's here. I was thinking I might put a pulley right here where this hole is. Originally I thought that it had to go like over here, but it don't. The knob's over here. So we got to get back over that way. Now I see a hole here. I don't know what that was or what it was for, but I don't know if I can utilize that. I mean, we can go if I put a pulley there and bring that around it, it will still probably hit here. But I have got another pulley. If I put a pulley there and I put a pulley here and run through the hole over to here, we may be able to do it. And it's nice because it's all on the same plane. I thought before I was going to have to like come up, but I don't have to come up. All I got to do is run on the same plane. I probably wouldn't even need to have a pulley here, but I think I want to have one to keep it out of the belt. And then I've got one here. If I drill a hole in there,
paint my bolt white, I think that it will look right. And this almost will go into this. It looks like if I take the coating off, that hole is big enough that I can stick it in there, and if it's not, I'll drill the hole out slightly. But I think that'll work. So what I need to do is run down to Menards and see what kind of a pulley I could come up with for that. Because I know unless I got something from a garage door opener or something around here, I don't think I'm going to have something for that. So, but I like what I'm seeing. I think I can make this work. Let's see what I come up with. So trying to figure out bracketry for this turn-on knob that basically is a belt tensioner for the motor has been quite a head scratcher for me. Like most things that I do, I try and come up with ideas and make it out of cardboard first and see what I can do with it. And as you can see on all these little bends on this, there's a lot of bending going on, figuring out going on before I actually started trying to make it to metal. And even making it to metal, it took about 4 or 5 different iterations to get to the point of where it's at now. And I'll throw a little segment here in for you guys to see what I'm talking about. That until I get it all on. Shit. Come on, there you go. Alright. Okay, so this is the final iteration, less paint. I still have to remove all this back off of here and paint it all, including this slide bracket here. But this is what I came up with, my own personal design, and I think it's going to work fine. I'm getting ready to put you on the tripod and we will test it out and see what we get. Okay, so I'm going to plug the washing machine in, which this is old enough it doesn't have a power switch. You just plug the motor in like I did when I showed you the motor when I did it. So I'm getting ready to plug it in, and as you can see it's spinning the motor and the motor's doing good. I'm going to reach down and I'm going to flip the knob that's going to engage everything. Like that. And now everything's running. You can see the agitator agitating. You can see the drive for the wringer spinning. And everything's working nice and smooth. Now when I release the knob, you'll see things sort of slow down. It's not going to stop entirely because there's no drag on it. But once I get the agitator drive bar and the agitator hooked up, once I get the wringer drive shaft and the wringer installed, that'll be enough drag on it that when you release that, it'll stop spinning. So I'll release it right now. There we go. I could technically reach down and probably stop that with my hand, but with my hand being lowered up, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll say maybe I can do it. I'll put a pair of gloves on and use my other hand. See if we can stop this. Yeah, see, I can stop it. So, there you go. Success. I say once the wringer drive shaft is connected to the wringer, it's going to have enough tension. Plus, when you figure that the tub, when it's full of water and has clothes in there, it'll definitely be enough drag between that and the wringer that it'll stop. So my design works. I'm pretty happy with it. Now all I got to do is take everything back off and paint it. Okay, so I got the belt engagement mechanism all completed, fabricated, painted, reinstalled, so that's all done. It works good. Now I'm getting ready to put the actual agitator disengagement mechanism, which is also the combination drain, get that put back in here when I set that up. Okay, so this is the coupling that couples the agitator to the agitator drive right there. And that slides on there, and I'm going to grease that before I put this on. And this is the combination tub support, tub bolts here, drain, that's the drain, and this is the fork that actually moves that up and down to disengage it from the wringer. So I got to pull this nut and this nut off. I used those to hold all that together when I sealed that transmission up, and so I'll pull those nuts off and I'll put that on there and screw that in there. We'll get the yoke greased and on there, and I'll get this engaged down there with a spring. So let me get some grease on that coupler and we'll go from there. Actually, before I do the coupler, so let me get the nuts off of there and we'll go from there. I have a jack under the transmission to hold it together to make sure it doesn't separate. I don't think it would anyway, but I don't want to take any chances. I don't want to break my seal. I won't need these nuts because that part is actually threaded. Alright, let's get some grease on this coupler. I don't need a whole lot of grease, but I do want to make sure that I get enough in there. I ain't planning on taking this thing apart again. I hope not anyway. I'll put a little bit in that groove just because it rides on that little raised lip in there. This was really caked very solidly with super hard grease when I took it apart. Fins, I'm going to put a little bit right inside there where that yoke runs. This don't spin super fast, so actually it agitates, so it shouldn't take much grease. Alright. I got the spring, I cleaned that up really nice, and I clear coated it in lacquer. I put just a tad of Loctite in the threads for this part. Okay, so now we gotta slide that under there. I'm probably going to have to put that yoke on that first. Let's put that in there first, like that. Try and keep everything from falling apart on me here as I set this down on top of here, because I got to thread that in there like that. And of course the spring just fell out, so I guess we're going to have to stick that in again. And of course it hung everywhere but where I wanted it. Okay, so now let's see if we can get this down on top of the bolts. And on top of that, if I can get the bolts started in that housing. Bolts have a little bit of silicone on them. Start straight and not crooked. I'm going to try and hook this spring up anyway. Maybe might help hold this on. There we go. You can see I put some Loctite in that. If you've seen it ooze up, hopefully I'm not in your picture with my head. I'm using this 1/4 inch ratchet because I don't want to risk breaking anything. Okay. It's operating properly. Okay, there's that. Yeah, so I sprayed this. If you remember, this was all solid rust. I sprayed this. I did it in rust remover and in my sonic cleaner, and I sprayed it with clear lacquer, multiple coats. Same with the spring. This is same thing, all clean. This is actually Rust-Oleum machine gray on that. I didn't do anything with this. I probably should have. I actually did. There was some porosities inside. They weren't actually making it to the outside, but I filled all the porosities that I saw inside with super glue, so shouldn't leak. I think the next step is going to be to put the wringer drive shaft in.